Good morning, everyone. So let's talk about one of the four C's of a diamond, and that is today we're going to discuss clarity. So as you can see in front of me, I've got my cheat sheet for clarity. We grade diamonds in four different classifications: color, clarity, cut, and carat weight. So today let's talk about the actual clarity of a stone. Now this scale right here was invented at the School of GIA, which is the Gemological Institute of America. And any of us who have a gemology degree or a graduate gemology degree have graduated or at least taken a lot of classes from GIA. GIA was invented by a fellow, I think his name is Robert Shipley, in the early 1900s. And he wanted a standardized system of measurement for a diamond. Before that, clarity was graded as eye clean or good or perfect or well. They didn't have a standardized unit of measurement. So he came up with the GIA scale. There's a color scale, a carat weight, and now a clarity scale. So before we get to the way diamonds are graded by clarity or where clarity comes from, think about this. A diamond is created approximately 150 miles below the Earth's surface. So it has about 5,000 to 6,000 degrees of heat over millions of years for a carbon atom to form a diamond. So within that, the fluctuations of heat and the fluctuation of pressure do not solidify that diamond equally all those millions of years. So what happens is you have things inside that stone that are not perfect. You'll have little black dots that look like pepper. You'll have what we call a fracture, or you'll have little things that look like salt. So any of those three, there could be clouds, different things. They classify them different ways. But anyway, it's an inclusion inside the stone. GIA wants us as jewelers to call them characteristics, because you can't say something has a flaw in it or a dark spot. It has to be a politically correct word. But anyway, clarity comes from that. So let's move on. Sorry that got so long-winded. So down here at the bottom are different examples of your clarity. So as you can see, VVS 2, very little clarity characteristics in that. As you move to VS2, you can start seeing a few little red places and that would be a little black dot or fracture. Then you move over here. SI means slightly included, and there's two grades of that, 1 and 2, and you can see the inclusions pick up more in quantity. And then as you move over here, I2, and there's an entire classification for that, and there's even more in there. And I will tell you, as a diamond setter and as a jeweler, inclusions are fine, but when they get to that outside edge over there, that's when they become a problem. Because when you try to bend prongs over on top of that stone, if there's any flaw or inclusion on that edge, it might crack or break. Okay, so here's your scale over here. And it starts, now this is what we call mine diamonds or natural diamonds. They're built in the ground, not in a lab. So here we have, the top category is flawless. And then you have internally flawless. So there's two classifications of inclusions. If it's on the outside of the stone, it's called a blemish. If it's on the inside of the stone, it's called an inclusion. In, inclusion, out, blemish. So as we go down the scale, you get here. You get VVS 1 and 2. Very, very slightly included. Classifications 1 and 2. And then you have very slightly included, which is VS 1 and 2. And moving on down, you have SI1 and SI2, which is slightly included, 1 and 2. And then you have I1, 2, and 3, which is included 1, 2, and 3. Now, I will tell you, I would say in the 20s, 2015, 2018, somewhere right in there, GIA did introduce a classification called a SI3, and it falls right in this black line right here. So it's a SI1, 2, and 3 now, not just 1 and 2. Now, so what does that mean as far as money? Okay, well, if it's down here included, chances are it's not very much in gemstones, or excuse me, it's not in jewelry. I3, we kind of stay away from. I1 and 2, it starts to look cloudy. It starts to look like an ice cube, and you can see these inclusions or defects with your naked eye. Now, as you come up here, it takes a 10 power loop to see these inclusions here, SI1 and 2. This is where most, I would say 80% of your diamond gemstones are that are sold on the commercial market. Now, these are natural diamonds, they're not labs. Labs are way up here, but most of your natural mined diamonds are in this category right here, and I'll tell you why. Let's say you have a 1 carat natural diamond right now that sells for $6,000 to $7,000, and it's a SI1. Once you jump to this category right here, it adds about $3,000 to that price tag. So if it's $6,000, $7,000 here, up here it's going to be closer to 9 or 10, just for that change in classification and the less inclusions it'll have. Now, as you move up, it becomes more and more rare and more expensive. When you get to here, people, if anybody ever tells you they have a flawless diamond, you can look at them with a little side eye, because there's not very many of these in the world. If you have a 1/4 carat mined diamond that is flawless and has a D color, it's a $30,000, $40,000 rock. And that's a 1/4 carat. So imagine if you've got a 1 carat flawless diamond. It will be super expensive. So that's your GIA clarity scale right here. It goes from flawless to eternally flawless. Remember, blemishes are on the outside, inclusions are on the inside. VVS1 all the way down to I3. And that is a quick overview of the clarity scale for a diamond. Remember, if you like this video, comment, subscribe, and share it with other people that might be looking at buying a diamond.